We're going to launch this with matching the percent to the diagram. We have been using the 10-part percent bar graph, but it's not always going to be divided into 10 parts when it's showing you a picture. So we have to be able to see a picture and be able to know what it's representing. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to see if you can match which bar graph is showing 25% shaded, 30% shaded, 33 and 1/3% shaded, which I would do that one last personally, 50% shaded, and 75% shaded. How are you going to do that? You're going to use different colors. And let's say I'll give you the first one. 25% is right here. How do I know that? Because there's 4 parts and 100% divided by 4, like a dollar divided by 4, is 25 cents or 25%. And then you'd pick a different color and find the other percentages. So let me give you time to do that. All right, here are the answers. I'm going to start with the easiest ones first. 25% I did for you. 30%, 100 divided by 10 is 10, 10, 20, 30. That's 30%. I'm going to skip this one. Go to 50%. 50% belongs up here because 100 divided by 4 is 25. 25 plus 25 is 50%. Or you can think of it as money. 2 quarters equals 50 cents, 50%. 75%, same thing. 4 parts, I'm thinking of it as quarters. 75 cents is 75%. Now, this last one, you're not going to just think automatically in your head, oh, that's 33 and a third percent. So what you're going to have to do is division, like I've taught you, dividing by the parts. So if there are 3 parts and we're trying to find the percent, you're going to divide 100% divided by 3. And we're dividing by 3 because there's 3 parts. Why are we dividing 100? Because it's 100% of the entire bar graph. Remember, we can't have anything left over. All right, so 3 can't go into 1, that's 0. 3 can go into 10 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. With 1 left over, bring down your 0. 3 goes into 10 again 3 times. 1 left over. And that's that whole we need donuts. So our answer is 33 and 1/3%. Okay, so if you can't do it perfectly, mentally, you're going to have to divide the parts by 100. Now we learned from the cool down that we need some more practice with percent bar graphs. For this one, we're going to do 10 liters of milk, which is the representation. So we have 10 parts. So before I look at the question, I'm going to go ahead and label it because that's important so I don't mess up in a minute. So what I've told y'all to do is write percent so that you don't forget that's where percent goes at the bottom. So 10, 20, we're counting by tens because each one represents 10%. All right, make sure you have that. Now it says first box, what is 10% of 10 liters? Okay, so our first step, like I've taught you, is to take the whole number and divide by your parts, which is 10. So this so happens to just be another 10. So 10 parts divided by 10 liters, or 10 liters divided by 10 parts. So 10 divided by 10 is 1. So I'm going to use a different color so I don't get confused. And I know each one of these is going to represent 1 liter. Okay, so those are our parts. Percent is at the bottom, and the top is the pieces that are inside are the parts, are the liters, sorry. All right, so the second part is, let's answer the question. What is 10% of 10 liters? Well, now we made it really easy. So I go to percent, I find 10, I draw a line, put a box around it. How many liters is that? I look inside my box, 1. So the answer is 1. Easy, right? You just have to remember, hey, let me make sure I'm looking at the right number. Percent, or this number. Now, we can't do all of these on the same bar graph. Let me show you why, like we did in our cool down. This says 10%, this says 50%, and this says 75%. If I add those together, I don't get 100%. So for each one of these, we're going to make a new percent bar graph. Okay, so now I'm going to erase. I only need to erase this part. That's all you need to erase, and then put back whatever you accidentally erased. Because if you look at it, I'm still dividing by 10 liters. So all of these I'm dividing by 10. So I don't need to change that. I'm not going to divide by 10 each time. All right, so let's do the next one. What is 50% of 10 liters? Okay, let me use the blue again. I go to 50. I draw a line. I box it. And then I just count the liters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that one's done. All right, so I can erase what I've done. Again, the next one says 10 liters, so I'm just going to leave that there. The next one says 10 liters of milk, so I don't have to divide into 10 again. I've already done that. They say 10, 10, 10. But now I need 75%. So let me go to my blue. I go to 70. 75 would be in the middle because half of 10 is 5. All right, and then I'm going to count. How many liters? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then half of 1. How do we write half of 1? Well, we could write 7.5 liters, or if we're doing a test, it might say 7 5/10. So that's the two ways you could write half. Okay, and that's how you do it with the percent bar graph. If you just have to remember, if you're working with percentages and they don't equal 100, you're going to have to make a new bar graph for each one. So let's make sure you're caught up on that. All right, so now we have a big one. Don't get scared. It's still going to be using this bar graph, and it's not going to be harder than the other ones we've done. Just a little bit more, maybe bigger numbers, but not harder. So 2,000 meters representation. So before I look at anything, remember, you're going to label it. So I have percent, and label it. And I'm looking at this, and we have 10%, 50%, and 75%. Okay, that's bigger than 100%. So I'm going to have to erase my work each time I do this. All right, but how do I know what number goes in there? Because Miss Pellerin told me my first step is always to divide by the whole number by 10. Our whole number is 2,000. Oops, that's a comma. 2,000 divided by 10. Oh my gosh, I can't write today. Divided by 10. All right, 2,000 divided by 10. If you divide that, you're going to get 200. Now I know how many meters is for each 10%. Let me use a different color. And I'm going to write 200 in each box. So now I'm ready to answer my question. So let's wait and give you time to do that. All right, so now I'm over here. I'm looking at what is 10% of 2,000. So here's 10. I draw my line. And what do I get? 200. So the answer is 200 meters. Okay, I'm going to erase that. I'm just going to erase this part, and this part. There we go. And that's a, let me put that back. 200. There we go. The next one, what is 50% of 2,000? So I go to the 50, I draw a line, do that, and then I just count. Well, easiest way to do is count by twos. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That must mean that that is, what do y'all think, guys? 1,000. 1,000 meters. All right, and I'm just going to erase this because we can tell it's going to just keep getting bigger because the next one says 75%. So 70, and then right in the middle, right there, would be 75 because we're looking at 70 and half of 10 is 5. And then let's count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15, 16. But that was only half of that. So let's do some multiplication. 2, 4, 6, 8. How many of these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 7 full 200s. So that would be 1,400. But what's half of 200? 100. So it'd be 1,500. So for that one, you either multiplied or you added all these up on your paper, and half of 200 was 100. So 1,500. And that's how you do percent bar graphs. Just keep in mind, our cool down, we were able to do it all on one each time and represent all of them on one because it equaled 100%. But on this one, it didn't equal 100%. So we had to do it individually. All right, here's our next one, 24-hour representation. Again, let's go ahead and put our percentages in there. All right, so it should look like this to start with, maybe a little bit prettier, but it's going to look like this. And who remembers our first step? Go ahead and tell me. If we're trying to find 10% of 24, what goes in here? How do we know? Yep, our first step is 24 divided by 10. And yes, we're going to get an answer with a decimal. That's going to happen. It's not as easy as whole numbers all the time. So now we know which one, how much each part represents. So go ahead and write 2.4 in each box. Okay, and this is what it should look like. And now we're ready to find our answer. So what is 10% of 24? So I go to my 10% at the bottom, draw my line, and there's my answer, 2.4. All right, what is 50% of 24 hours? Let me erase that. I go to 50%, I draw a line, and do all that. And I count how many of these are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I can add up 2.45 times, or I can multiply it. So real quickly, I'm just going to do the multiplication. 2.4, and there's 5 of them. Or you could add them up, whatever is easiest for you. All right, I get 12.0, which we would just say it's 12. So 50% of 24 hours is 12. Erase this. All right, I'll go to the next one. What is 75% of 24 hours? So 70, half of 80 is 75. Draw the line right there. Now, how many full 2.4s do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm going to do that first. Figure out add up 2.47 times or multiply it. I get 16.8, but I'm not done because what is half of 2.4? Well, half of 2.4 is 1.2 because 1.2 plus 1.2 equals 2.4. So I've got to add that to my 16.8, which gives me 18.0 or just 18. So don't let the decimal scare you. That's just like what we've done. And we're finished with that one. Now you're going to do some practice on your own. It says Lynn, Jada, and Andre had the goal of raising $40. How much money did each person raise? So our whole number is $40. And our first step is always to divide. What are we dividing? We're dividing by 10. So I'll remind you how you get started. 40 divided by 10 equals 4. So now you're going to draw a bar graph for each one of these. So each one of these is going to have their own bar graph that's into 10 parts. I'm not going to divide it up. I'm just showing you. Each one needs to have the 10 parts. I'm not going to waste my time drawing them right now, but you will. So when you share your screen with me, that's what I want to see. So you would break it up into your 10 parts, draw your percents, and then this is how much each part is. And then you're going to tell me what's 10%, 50%, and 75%. Let's say you forgot. Hey, I forgot how to do this. Well, you can go let me make sure I clicked the right one. You can go to the previous screen. Whoops. It's not there anymore because I erased it, but you're going to still have some of your stuff there. So you can go back and look and see what you did. All right, let's see how you do.